Understood? In the biopharmacy industry, nearly $176 billion worth of value of patents are going to exhaust in 2026, 2029. So that gives enormous opportunity to encash those biopharma, patent-free biopharma, and our industries can take them through to manufacture generic biopharma as well. Not only generic chemical pharma or pharmacy, we can equip ourselves to manufacture generic biopharmacy as well. Right? That is what we call it as, remember, patent cliff. One of the major applications is magnets. That is why you would always hear Trump talking about magnet. Is totally unhappy about China owning 90% of rare earth minerals in the world, because China wants all the magnets, or China becomes the ownership of the magnet. Without magnets, no technology can work, no hardware can function. Right? So the key of technological development lies with the rare earth minerals. Again, they may ask in prelims, they are very fond of giving some unique, unknown, unheard chemical names and ask you to identify what is that. So India is diversifying its technological industry, coming out of more cotton reliance to technical textile reliance, because technical textile industry provides nearly $300 billion global market. Hello my dear students, I welcome all of you to my YouTube channel, Joyful God. I am Jyothi Ganesh. I hope all of you are doing good. So there are hardly 3 months to preliminary examination. I hope all of you are focused. I know this month, February, has kept you very busy, given that there is economic survey and there is budget to go through, as well as UPSC has released CSC 2026 notification 2. Right. I would suggest you to not to postpone your application submission. Do it as soon as possible. So, in the previous video, I had gone through primary data points regarding budget 2026-2027. If you have not watched that video, kindly watch it before you go to this video, because those indicators are very, very important to understand overview of the budget. Right? Again, they are very important with respect to both your preliminary and mains examination. As I had promised in the previous video that I would go through in detail regarding Union Budget 2026-27, that is financial year 27, I am making this video. Right. So I am going to take you through detailed discussion of the budget, but you are here for only bits and pieces or just one-liners of the budget. Right? I'm not going to finish it off in 25 minutes or 30 minutes, because I believe UPSC preparation must be comprehensive. You cannot study the budget just in one-liner. This much allocated, this is the scheme, and this is the department going to execute it. No. Right? You have to understand in depth why are they bringing that scheme, what is the background, and you also have to observe the keywords regarding that, because in preliminary, they are not just asking one-liners, they are going in depth. So, mains, I don't have to explain you know it very well that they need you to analyze in more depth. Economics have to be studied organically. It is not in silos, right? Just a fact somewhere, concept somewhere. No, facts and concepts are connected. So, I will make a honest attempt to make you understand not only the budget ingredients, but also I will go through in depth. I will try to make you understand what are the concepts behind it, right? So, have patience. And I'm going to divide this budget video into 3 parts. Right? This is the first part I'm releasing. There will be a lot of takeaways for preliminary examination as well as mains examination. Budget gives you a lot of facts. Budget gives you a lot of technicalities. Budget also gives you a lot of analysis. Stay tuned. Right? If you are a serious aspirant, if you are going through UPSC preparation comprehensively, including both preliminary and mains examination, this is for you. Right? Beginning with the budget, Nirmala Sitharaman, our finance minister, presented the budget on February 1st, 2026. Right. She called the budget as Reform Express. Right. So, the context in which she said is, the government is bringing in enormous amount of reforms. She said they have brought nearly 350 reforms since the Independence Day speech of our Prime Minister, that is on August 15th, 2025, including GST reforms, be it labor code, right? So she said this budget is also taking through the same reform express, right? Also, she termed the budget as a Yuva Shakti driven blueprint for Vikasit Bharat. You know Vikasit Bharat? The aspiration to become developed India by 2047, right? So she said that should be driven by Yuva Shakti. Rightly so, economic survey also says that India is going to achieve its maximum demographic dividend, right, in the year 2030. Maximum demographic dividend in the year 2030. That means what? That means by the year 2030, we will see 65% of our population to be within the age range of 15 to 59. That is working age population, right? Right? So, if India is full of youth, that means what? India is seeking more opportunities. India need to be upskilled. We have to improve human capital to encash new economic opportunities, right? As well as we have to encash this potential or harness this potential to achieve double-digit growth so that we can be an independent economy, a self-reliant economy, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat. So that is the view, or those are the ingredients we can, observe in this current budget, right? And like the budget, she also divided the budget into 3 pillars, right? She termed them as 3 kartavyas. Politically so, right? She said this is the first budget which has been prepared in the Kartavya Bhavan, which is a new building inaugurated as part of her Vista Dome project, that is construction of new parliament building. So 3 kartavyas, we can also see them as 3 pillars of budget, right? First kartavya, it is growth. Accelerating economic growth, accelerating productivity, and making our economy resilient. So what is the meaning of resilience? In last few months or years, we are seeing this word resilience very much in the news, especially in the economical context. What is that? Right? There will be a lot of global headwinds with respect to economical shocks. India must be prepared to absorb all those global economic shocks. Also, it has to grow. It is not only about defending the shocks, it also have to encash the opportunities and also have to grow. That is what economic survey said. India has to run both marathon and sprint simultaneously. India has to run a marathon like a sprint, right? So that's why it says resilience. Second pillar or second kartavya, it is aspirations. That is fulfilling the aspirations of the people. That's what I told you. India is full of youth, right? We have to make sure their aspirations are fulfilled. We have to create enough number of opportunities for them, right? And build human capacity. How the budget is going to contribute towards this? We see that in the second pillar or second kartavya. And third one is inclusion. The government mantra, that is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, inclusivity. Ensure access to resources. Everyone must get access to the national resources, be it income or be it wealth. How the government is ensuring this inclusivity through this budget that we're going to see. And she also quoted the core enablers to achieve these 3 goals. The core enablers to achieve these 3 kartavyas. What are they? Continuous structural reforms, resilient financial structure, and cutting-edge technologies. The structural reforms, the word tells you that those reforms which are long-lasting, right? They are aimed at long-term economical growth. They are aimed at long-term economical stability. They are aimed at long-term economical resilience, right? That's about structural reforms. This government is focusing on debt to GDP ratio, fiscal deficit, inflation, forex reserves, current account deficit. All these are part of bringing structural reform. Also tax reforms, right? And next is financial sector, resilient financial sector. There are a lot of turbulences with respect to dollar versus rupee, right? People are dumping dollars and buying gold, etc. And there is a there are supporters of cryptocurrency as well. You never know. Future may belong to digital economy. If everything turns to digital economy, then paper money might lose its relevancy. You never know, right? There can be a lot of global headwinds with respect to finance sector also, right? So that should be taken care of. Next is cutting edge technologies. Of course, economy is no more driven by missions. It is driven by technology. Technology driven economy. That is why government also makes sure that it provides certain needed space for the or needed scope for the cutting edge technologies, be it artificial intelligence, it can be robotics, it can be semiconductor technology, it can be biotechnology, etc. Right. So these are the core enablers for the 3 pillars quoted in the budget. So in this current video, I will take you to the first growth or first kartavya. This entire video is dedicated towards first kartavya. What are the ingredients or what are the schemes or programs announced as part of first kartavya, that is growth? Are you all with me? Yes, let us go through. So, beginning with macroeconomic indicators. These are broad indicators, but I have explained all these macroeconomic indicators in detail along with the trend in the previous video. That is very, very crucial. If you find it lengthy, you can watch it in 1.5x speed, but don't ever miss it. If you miss that, you will miss the essence of budget itself. So I am just quoting few important, macroeconomic indicators. The current budget 26-27 estimating to achieve fiscal deficit of 4.3% of GDP. Right? It also goes on to quote that it has achieved 4.5% of fiscal deficit in the year 2025-26. That is financial year 26. Right? And our finance minister proudly goes on to say that she was able to keep up her promise. What was her promise? She said during budget 2021, that is aftermath of COVID, our fiscal deficit was nearly 9.2. And she said that her government works really hard to bring down the fiscal deficit to half by 2025. And it has been done. Right? That's about fiscal deficit. And debt to GDP ratio, that is the new anchor with respect to FRBM Act. What is Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act? If you want me to make the video regarding this act, let me know in the comment section. Right. So new anchor, fiscal anchor. So government estimates to achieve 55.6% of debt to GDP ratio in the financial year 2027. Got it? So it also goes on to say that midterm framework, it has put a midterm target of by 2030-2031, India is going to achieve debt to GDP ratio of 50 plus or minus 1%. 2030 is not far away. It is just 3 to 4 years down the lane. Years go like this. Right. So we are about to achieve 50 plus or minus 1 debt to GDP ratio. Right. And this budget is significant when it comes to capital expenditure. Right. It is one of the highest ever. Right. The government is spending nearly 12.2 lakh crore rupees for capital purposes. It comes down to almost 4.4% of GDP. It is one of the highest ever expenditure for capital purpose, and also it states that it is devolving or it is sharing, that is among the net divisible tax pool collected by the union government. As per the recommendation of 16th Finance Commission, I will make a separate video regarding recommendation of 16th Finance Commission. I will go through in detail. Before that, the first thing you must know is what is the share the states must get among the net divisible tax pool of the union government. The Finance Commission recommended 41%. It is same as the previous Finance Commission recommendation. So government, as per the recommendation, has devolved 41% of the share, that is around, it comes down to maybe 7 to 8 lakh crore maybe. Right. I don't have the data here. I have put the data in the previous video. You may kindly go through that. So it's about devolution to the states. That is vertical devolution, right? Let us talk about first pillar or first kartavya, that is growth. The growth aspect I have divided into 3 parts, that is manufacturing and industry. That is first part. Second part being infrastructure. That is second part. And third part being sustainability. But students, there are a lot of takeaways in this video. Kindly don't skip. Be focused, right? In the manufacturing industry, there are high technology frontiers. That means the opportunity that is getting created in the new manufacturing era or new manufacturing areas, right? Which are those? That is summed up under high technology frontiers. And there are programs for improving core sectors, that is textiles, right? And resource security and MSME resilience. Broadly, if I tell you, government has announced a Biopharma Shakti program where it has allocated nearly 10,000 crore to improve biopharmacy, to give boost to the biopharmacy. I will take you through in detail. And it also has launched India Semiconductor Mission 2.0, right? To give boost to the semiconductor manufacturing, semiconductor device manufacturing, and also research and development. And it also given boost to the textile industry, which is a core sector. It is not a new technology frontier, but it is a core sector. It is a traditional sector which is responsible for creating crores of jobs. And manufacture must be allied with resource security as well, right? Especially critical minerals. The whole world is behind critical minerals. Trump will be always quoting China, saying magnet, right? Is whatever the invasions is talking about purely based on acquiring such precious minerals, right? Critical minerals. What is the budget having for critical minerals as well as chemicals? Securing resources. And then MSME resilience. MSME, of course, we have to make sure MSMEs surviving, they grow, they create employment opportunities, they become competitive not only domestically but also globally. What the budget has for MSME, we will take you through. First thing is Biopharma Shakti, right? So before I am telling you something about Biopharma Shakti, let us go through a few, aspects of Biopharma, right? What is Biopharma? Pharmacy, right? Pharmacy, that is drugs generated or drugs manufactured using purely chemicals. But Biopharma talks about drugs manufactured during living entities or living organisms. If the pharmacy or drugs manufactured using living entities or living organisms, it is called biopharmacy, right? So when it comes to generic pharmacy, India, it meets approximately 20% of global demand. It meets 20% of global demand when it comes to what? That is generic pharmacy. That is why India is called pharmacy of the world, right? So that is more volume driven. It is more volume driven because we manufacture more for a lesser price and we will export it, right? So again, you must know what is generic pharmacy. What is a generic pharmacy? My dear friends, see, if any company comes up with any chemical formula to cure a particular disease, they will own the patent, right? And the lifespan for the patent will be some years. In India, it is 20 years, right? So during the time of the patent production, if any other company has to manufacture the same drug, they have to pay royalty. That makes pharmacy costly. That makes drugs costlier or unaffordable, right? When the patents period get over, right, it will allow other companies to manufacture same drug, right? That is where generic pharmacy comes into picture. Generic pharmacy, it is kind of non-branded pharmacy. That is very generic, right? They will produce exactly the same drug with exactly same chemical component with exactly same effects, but for a cheaper price because they don't have to pay for patents and all. That is called generic pharmacy. So Indian pharmaceutical industry was more driven by volume. But now this Biopharma Shakti program talks about value-driven pharmacy industry. Value-driven. From volume-driven to value-driven. Understood? So let us, and there is one more interesting thing is happening in the world of biopharmacy. That is, as per the data, between 2026, 2029, nearly $176 billion worth of drugs patent protection is going to exhaust. Understood? In the biopharmacy industry, nearly $176 billion worth of value of patents are going to exhaust in 2026, 2029. So that gives enormous opportunity to encash those biopharma, patent-free biopharma, and our industries can take them through to manufacture generic biopharma as well. Not only generic chemical pharma or pharmacy, we can equip ourselves to manufacture generic biopharmacy as well. Right? That is what we call it as, remember, patent cliff. You must remember this word, patent cliff. Right? That means what? 2026, between 2026, 2029, nearly $176 billion worth of patents are going to exhaust. That means for biopharmacy, that much, whatever the patents have been taken by different companies, they're going to exhaust. That exhaust means that the period is getting over. So they become royalty free. If they become royalty free, we have to equip ourselves with required manufacturing capability so that we can encash that free or royalty free drugs, right? And we can produce generic biopharma. That is the opportunity we are going to encash. That is one of the idea behind Biopharma Shakti program. But what is the main thing? Right. Main thing is the government is going to allocate 10,000 crore in the next 5 years. Government is going to allocate 10,000 crore in the next 5 years. For what? For building ecosystem. For building ecosystem for domestic production. It talks about two things. One is biologics and biosimilars. Very, very important. You may in your prelim examination they may ask you what are biologics and what are biosimilars. Biologics biologics are the drugs or the biopharma manufactured out of living organisms. That's all. There is nothing else. Biologics are biopharmacy manufactured out of living organisms. Biosimilars are a copy of this. That's all. If some biologics is available, if it is patent protected, if the patent validity gets over, someone else will come up with biosimilar. That is copying the exact biologics. Biosimilar. Got it? It is exactly same as biologics, but since it has become patent free, a new company is going to manufacture the same, vaccine or same pharma or for same drug, as a biosimilar. Biologics and biosimilars. Hope you understand. Right. So it tries to build ecosystem for biopharmacy. You may ask, sir, why biopharmacy? My dear friends, biopharmacy is very, very important to cure majorly non-communicable diseases. Right? The insulin the patients take for the type 2 diabetes, that is a biopharmacy. That is a biopharma. Got it? Whatever the vaccines we were talking about during the COVID times, again, that's all part of biopharma. And recently the world is talking about cancer curing drugs, HIV drugs, right? All that is part of your biopharmacy, right? So chronic or, non-communicable diseases must be treated with biopharmacy because they are well targeted and very efficient as well. That is why India is focusing on next revolution in the pharmacy industry, that is biopharmacy, by building ecosystem, right? So through this fund, the government is focusing on building a network. Focusing on building a network of 3 new NIPERs, National Institutes of Pharmaceutical Education and Research. National Institutes of pharmaceutical, education and research. 3 new NIPERs are coming in, as well as it is going to upgrade 7 existing ones. 7 existing NIPERs. Build 3 new, upgrade 7 existing ones. Right. It is also aiming to reform our Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. Central Drugs Standards Control Organization, which is responsible for approving the drugs, approving the clinical trials, etc., to make it as global or world-class regulator. Right? By equipping the organization with lot more skill set, lot more manpower, lot more technology, so that they can give approvals in lesser time. They can be more efficient to understand what are the fallouts of this particular drug. Right? So we have to make it more capable. Right? That is why this budget aims to transform CDS CO into a global class regulator or world class regulator. The same thing this infograph explains you, that our pharma industry must have to go from volume to value. Right? So from chemical generics to, we are moving towards biological medicines. Right? 3+7 NIPER research model. And one more thing, it is also going to build 1,000 accredited trial sites. We are going to expand. We are going to build more research institutes. We are also going to increase number of trial sites, because drug trials are they take a long time. If you manufacture this year, it will take at least 3-4 years for the drug to get approved. Right? We have to speed it up. Right? Government has announced to set up more than 1,000 accredited trial sets. Accredited means accredited to the government. Right? Creating nationwide clinical network to accelerate drug validation and market entry. And modernizing CDS CO. Right? Drug controller. The budget aims to achieve 5% global market share by 2030. Global market share of biopharmacy. This BioShakti program aims to achieve 5% of global market share by 2030. And yes, this Biopharma Shakti also aims to capitalize the patent cliff. I have explained to you what is patent cliff. You can expect a question in preliminary examination for sure. Make sure you remember this. Okay. That's about it. That's about Biopharma Shakti. Right. Moving forward. Next is Indian Semiconductor Mission 2.0. What is that? Before going to the Semiconductor Mission, we talk about few aspects about it. Semiconductor industry has become very, very important strategically, economically, even geopolitically as well. When you talk about artificial intelligence, we need semiconductor chips. When you talk about, precision, arms, we need semiconductor chips. When you talk about EV vehicles or satellite technology, we need semiconductor chips. So these are all very strategic areas, right? Currently, 74% of IC, integrated chip design industry, is dominated by USA, South Korea, and then Taiwan and Japan. Right? And Indian semiconductor industry is more of service oriented. Indian semiconductor industry is more of service oriented. That means MNCs or the companies from South Korea, Taiwan or USA, they own the patents, they own the products, they own the architectural ownership on the architecture. But we engineers, that is chip design engineers in India, we will manufacture chips, we will assemble the chips and we will produce that fabs, IC fabs. But we don't own the product. We will get paid for our labor, that's all. Ultimately, product is sold by MNC. Whatever the profit goes to MNCs. Idea of Semiconductor Mission is we should become product owners. Right? We should bring in more and more original innovation. We should have our own idea. We should have our own design. right? We should not merely live like a service providers. That is the idea of semiconductor mission. So India Semiconductor Mission 1.0, that is the previous version, was announced in 2021. So in this budget, the government is announcing ISM 2.0, right? So this India Semiconductor missions are focused on moving from chip assembly to chip sovereignty. Chip assembly to chip sovereignty, right? We just not mere become a service providers to the product owners that are located in USA, South Korea, Taiwan, etc. But we have to own it. Chip sovereignty. That is the idea behind semiconductor mission, right? So what are the ingredients of semiconductor mission 2.0? It talks about building industry-led research and training centers. Industry-led research and training centers for developing technology, as well as to empower skilled workforce. That's the idea, right? And also it talks about electronic components manufacturing scheme, ECMS scheme, electronic component manufacturing scheme, which was announced in 2025. Electronic component manufacturing scheme, right? The budget has allotted 40,000 crore rupees to boost electronic component manufacturing. So what are electronic components? It can be your resistors, it can be your capacitors, it can be your printed circuit boards, right? Electronic components manufacturing scheme, again it's a flagship scheme which is part of semiconductor mission. It is announced in 2025. The budget declares that it is going to allocate 40,000 crore rupees in the next 5 years for manufacturing electronic components. Additionally, 1,000 crore rupees to develop research and training ecosystem. For what? Right. It also aims to achieve or support 50 major design startups. It is not merely chip assembly startups. Design startups. We need to come up with our own IP, intellectual property rights. We need to bring out our own innovation. We need to bring out our own design abilities. We should not merely get the outsourced job of a design created by some MNCs like Qualcomm, Nvidia, and your Intel, ARM, right? Semiconductor industries, they are ruling the world. Nvidia has become a first $1 trillion, company in the world. So that is why semiconductor, sector provides a lot of opportunity to India. You know what? Nearly 20% of chip design engineers are in India. Nearly 20% of integrated chip design engineers are in India. But they are merely dedicated to do the outsource work. But what are we bringing on our own? Unless we develop on our own, we cannot get the major portion of the profit that is generated by semiconductor industry. So that is the idea of this semiconductor mission. We have to develop the ecosystem. Also, we have to give boost to semiconductor manufacturing. Also, and hold the major startups in the chip design industry, right? And it also focuses on, these semiconductor devices requires lot of minerals, right? Rare earth minerals, also chemicals, some specialized chemicals. We are morely import dependent on them, right? We are dependent on imports from especially China. So that is again strategically, it makes Indian industry, semiconductor industry becomes strategically weaker. So what this budget is focusing is, it is trying to make it localized. We are trying to make it more localized. We have to ensure localized supply of dedicated rare earth minerals and chemicals required for semiconductor industry. So these are all the parts of Semiconductor Mission 2.0. Infograph explains the same thing. This mission aims to support 750 Indian design startups. We have to shift from service-based engineering to owning homegrown chip intellectual property. That is the idea, right? Again, overall, it allocates 41,000 crore. That is 40,000 for electronic components manufacturing scheme and 1,000 for developing research ecosystem, right? It aims to develop full stack technology. Full stack means entirely. It is not that IP owned by someone or design owned by someone and we are just assembling the chips and manufacturing chips on the board. No, it's not that. Entire, from the IP to the final product. From the IP to the final product, we have to own everything. That is called full stack objective. Right? We should not just be dependent. We should not be just doing one layer of work. We have to do everything. We should own the entire product. That is the idea of Semiconductor Mission. And domestic, we have to ensure that all the required equipments, chemicals, minerals are sourced from local industries. We should become less dependent on imports. And again, it tries to develop industry-led research and training. My dear friends, there is a lot of discussion regarding unemployability because there is no connection between your universities or academics and industry. Right? Whenever we are talking about quality job creations, we should bring in together what? Industry and academics. That is what it says, industry-led research and training. It is aiming to integrate 300 universities to design chips and target 3 nanometer nodes by 2032. India targets about to bring in technology, homegrown technology to achieve 3 nanometer chips by 2032. Recently, you might have seen Minister Vaishnav, Railway Minister, right? So Ashwini Vaishnav, right? So along with the Qualcomm CEO or Indian head, showcasing 2 nanometer chips. Qualcomm is able to achieve 2 nanometer chips, right? Though Indian engineers contributed for the manufacturing of 2 nanometer chips, but it is not owned by India. Right? India is still about to achieve 3 nanometer chip technology. Homegrown 3 nanometer chip design technology, we are still working hard towards that. Again, that aim is to achieve it by 2032. That tells you that how lagging are we. Got it? So we have to catch up with the developed economy and we have to speed up in the technological aspect. We have skill set, but where is technology? Where is product ownership? That is the idea about Semiconductor Mission. Hope you got through. Hope you got it. And there is one more thing. To localize the supply, we should do something about rare earth minerals, right? I will take you through what is the dedicated project or program with respect to rare earth minerals. Right? That's about India Semiconductor Mission 2.0. Government is aiming to develop rare earth mineral corridor. Rare earth minerals corridor. In the current budget, government is able to build rare earth minerals corridor. Right? What is that corridor? Rare earth minerals corridor. A corridor will be mineral exploration, mineral processing, which also includes separation, and manufacturing industry. We have to supply the minerals for manufacturing industry, right? So corridor includes all these things. Exploration also as well as mining. Exploration, mining, processing or separation and manufacturing. Right? So you all know the coastal part of Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Right? They own something called monazite sands. Monazite sand. Right? Nearly 89% of monazite sand we can find in these coastal states. This monazite sand contains nearly 65%. 65% of this monazite sand is rare earth mineral. Rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals. So, what are these rare earth minerals? Rare earth minerals. What are they? I can give you some example like cerium, lanthanum, neodymium, and we have praseodymium. These are rare earth minerals. You may encounter a question in prelims examination. What are these? These rare earth minerals, they are very much useful in the areas of manufacturing electric vehicles, semiconductor devices, precision arms which require specific precision, also smartphones, and in the medical industry as well for MRI machines, etc. Can you see? These machines require, for example, these machines require something called permanent magnets. Permanent magnets. These permanent magnets have been manufactured from these rare earth minerals. I am just giving an example. Not only magnets, there are a lot of other applications. Right? One of the major applications is magnets. That is why you would always hear Trump talking about magnet is totally unhappy about China owning 90% of rare earth minerals in the world, because China wants all the magnets, or China becomes the ownership of the magnet. Without magnets, no technology can work, no hardware can function. Right? So the key of technological development lies with the rare earth minerals. The name itself says rare earth minerals means they rarely, we can see them very rarely. That's all. So India has identified its coastal belt contains 89% of monazite sand. This monazite sand contains all these rare earth minerals. Got it? So India is now investing in developing rare earth mineral corridor. Rare earth mineral corridor. Right. So it also combines. India also has a program of manufacturing rare earth permanent magnets. Program for manufacturing rare earth permanent magnets. Right? It was approved in 2025. Right? And the current union budget allocated nearly 7,280 crore for this rare earth permanent magnets scheme. So we will support those companies which will come up with manufacturing ability to produce rare earth permanent magnets. Again, this can be a prelims question. What is rare earth permanent magnet? What are the applications of rare earth permanent magnet? And what are the ingredients of REPM? Right? And that means which rare earth minerals are used for REPM. Right? So this rare earth mineral corridor aims to produce 6,000 tons of magnets. Magnets quickly. Quickly. The word quickly says, quickly means what? We are bringing semiconductor revolution. We are bringing in electronic vehicles revolution. But can we wait till the mineral is explored, the mineral is mined, processed, etc.? No, right? Till then, what government has done is, it has reduced the custom to zero. Right? I told you, right? These rare earth minerals we are importing. Right? To give boost to the rare earth permanent magnet manufacturing industries, which are morely dependent on imports, what government has done is, it has reduced the custom duty to zero of rare earth minerals imports. The current budget also has done, what has been done? It has reduced the custom duty to zero. It will give boost to the currently established REPMs. And for future days, to make us less dependent on the imports, government is also boosting for mineral corridor. Rare earth mineral corridor. There are two things you must see. It has made rare earth minerals import as duty-free or custom duty as reduced to zero to give boost to the permanent magnet manufacturing industries, because we need them quickly. We can't wait till forever, because the world is moving very fast. Technological advancement is happening in no time. India cannot wait. India has skill set, India has resources, India has potential, but we can't wait forever. That is why it's okay. We are dependent on import. It's okay. Let us manufacture the magnets first, and then parallelly let us explore the availability of rare earth minerals. We should also make it more economic scale. We should make it more economical. Mining, exploring takes a lot of money, takes a lot of R&D investment as well. We have to make it more economical. That takes a little more time. Got it? That's about rare earth minerals corridor. Right. So the government aims at manufacturing 6,000 tons of magnet. The idea is mine to magnet integration. Mine to magnet integration. This rare earth mineral corridors talk about mine to magnet. You mine it, you process it, separate it, and you manufacture into magnet. These rare earth minerals occur with phosphate salt. Rare earth minerals occur with phosphate salt. We have to separate the phosphate from the rare earth minerals, and then we should make it ready to use. If there is a question, you never know. Monazite sands contains phosphates of rare earth minerals. Got it? Right. So, total reserve volume of rare earth minerals is estimated to be 11 million tons. Right? That's one more data point we have. And we have more than 90% dependent on imports currently. This rare earth mineral corridor will end that 90% import dependency. It will also provide a national security shield. Security shield means rare earth minerals are very strategic. Right? If the China stops exports of rare earth minerals, then entire semiconductor industry of the world will suffer. That will make our semiconductor industry more insecure. So we have to make it more secured. So it will provide more domestic control on the rare earth minerals availability. That is why we can talk about it. We can say it as it provides national security shield. Right. That's about rare earth minerals. Rare earth mineral corridor. So certain rare earth minerals, again, they may ask in prelims, they are very fond of giving some unique, unknown, unheard chemical names and ask you to identify what is that. So our monazite sand reserves contains 25 to 30% of cerium. Majority component of monazite sand is cerium. 10 to 12% is neodymium, and then 10 to 15% is lanthanum. Cerium is used as polishing agent, catalytic agent, and glass additives, especially in the camera glass, monitor glasses, right? Even in your smartphone glass, right? That is cerium. Neodymium used in high strength magnets, wind turbines, electric vehicles. Again, for renewable industry also, rare earth minerals are very important. Neodymium used in high capability vehicles, right? And then high strength vehicles, and then electric vehicles as well as wind turbines. Lanthanum used for battery electrodes, oil refining, etc. Following that, we have praseodymium, 5% used in aircraft engine, and yellow glass. Yellow glass is a specific glass. It is used for industrial purpose. It is not cup given here, but it is a yellow glass. It has industrial applications manufactured by praseodymium, right? And samarium, precision guided weapons, and then gadolinium, MRI machines. These are very, very important applications, very significant applications. We're looking forward to mine all these required rare earth minerals to support our semiconductor mission as well as self-reliance on rare earth minerals, right? Along with the rare earth minerals, there is one more important thing: chemical infrastructure. Government is aiming to develop high-tech chemical clusters. High-tech chemical clusters. Again, they are specialized industrial zones. Specialized industrial zones. Chemical clusters. What are these chemicals? Right? These chemicals are used for industrial applications. Industrial applications. Electric vehicles, even semiconductor chips, to wash the semiconductor chips. Got it? And many pharmaceutical chemicals. We talk about active pharmaceutical ingredients, right? Right? You know, Biopharma also might require certain chemicals. These are very significant strategic. Again, we are more dependent on imports. To make us less dependent on imports and self-reliant, government is coming up with establishing chemical clusters. Right? It is establishing chemical clusters in a plug-and-play model. These keywords are very, very important. This keyword will come almost in every manufacturing cluster. Plug-and-play model is what? For example, if a chemical industry has to set up somewhere, it has to go through a lot of approvals because it may having environmental concerns or the laws may restrict the uses of natural resources, etc. Got it? What if there is a cluster where every infrastructure is available? You know, environmental concerns are addressed, you know, chemical wastage is addressed, raw material supply is ensured. What you have to do is you should come and set up the company, that's all. Have money, have idea, have resources, come and set up the company, operate it, generate revenue, and you can go out, plug and play. That is very efficient because it takes very less time to establish a company. Again, you talk about ease of doing business, right? You don't have to go through various number of hurdles to set up a business. So, plug and play model. And this chemical clusters are allotted. You can ask, sir, where and all these clusters are coming up? The government is saying that it is allotted based on challenge-based rule or route. Challenge-based route. Challenge-based route. Challenge-based route means the states come up and bid. They will come up and they will bid. They will allocate the land. They will come up with infrastructure. They will bid for the money. Whichever states attract the bid, whichever states comes up with attractive proposal, they will win the chemical cluster project. Challenge, right? Challenge-based model or challenge-based route and then plug-and-play model. These two are very important. So, for this dedicated chemical parks, dedicated chemical parks, just like industrial parks, we have chemical parks. Government is allotted 600 crore rupees for the year 26-27. Government is allocating 600 crore rupees for the financial year 27, right? For this dedicated chemical parks. That's about it. And there is one more data point, right? Our economic survey says India is world's 6th largest chemical producer. 6th largest chemical producer. 6th largest chemical producer in the world. Right. So, this chemical park scheme will make India as chemical powerhouse. Right. This new chemical parks scheme or program makes India as a chemical powerhouse of the world. Again, that's very important. Again, that's explained by this infograph. Chemical industry will help in electric vehicles, battery chain technology, right? Semiconductor technology, Biopharma, Shaki link. You can see is LiPF6. Remember this. LiPF6 chemical that is for developing batteries for electric vehicles. LiPF6, right? That is lithium hexafluorophosphate. F6 is hexafluoro. P is phosphate. You may get this question in prelims for sure. Lithium hexafluorophosphate. It enables battery connectivity. And there are some other chemical names. Maybe you may have to remember this at least. You should be familiar with the names. First is lithium hexafluoride. Hexafluorophosphate. Lithium hexafluorophosphate. And next is vinylene carbonate. Vinylene carbonate. Vinylene carbonate, VC. Right. So this is also useful for battery technology. You don't have to know where exactly in battery, what are they doing. Lithium hexafluorophosphate, vinylene carbonate, and we have fluoroethylene carbonate. Fluoroethylene carbonate. FEC. And we have polyvinyl polyvinylidene fluoride. Polyvinylidene fluoride. See, LiPF6, vinylene carbonate, fluoroethylene carbonate, polyvinylidene fluoride. All these you can think like think as chemicals essential for battery manufacturing technology or battery technology. Remember these names because again, mains, again for mains examination, they're not at all significant. But as for prelims, you need to know. Right? These are chemicals related to battery manufacturing technology. Right? So again, this is the cluster I am talking about. Our chemical park provides everything. It also will be having common effluent treatment plants, shared infrastructure and utilities, so that it is easier for the company to come and set up and operate in the technological parks. Right. So, till now we discussed about high technology frontiers with respect to manufacturing industry. Now we'll move on to traditional sector, that is textile. Right. So, before diving into what are the aspects of textile industry in the budget, let us understand few things about textile industry. Economic survey says textile industry contributes up to 2% of GDP. It contributes 2% of GDP, and then it will also contribute nearly 45 million employment. That is directly. Nearly 100 million employment overall, directly plus indirectly. Right? Approximately 100 million direct and indirect employment and 45 million direct employment. That is why whenever we talk about textile industry, we talk about employment-led growth. So, for last 10-15 years, we're talking about Indian economy is growing at a faster rate, but we are calling that growth as jobless growth. That is why government is focusing more on labor-intensive industries and primary labor-intensive industries, textile industry. Got it? But economic survey points out certain challenges with respect to our textile industry. Our textile industry is facing challenge of small-scale operations, fragmented value chain, means any product they'll be having a value chain from raw material to the final product. There'll be a value chain. Every step of the chain, the value is going to be increased. Right? If you talk about textile industry from farm, right, to fiber, we have to get the fiber, right? Noolu, attiyand nool baratte, fiber, and from the fiber we have to make a cloth, that is called weaving. From weaving we have to design the garments and manufacture the garments, and then we have to market it. So this is the entire value chain. If it is fragmented, then it is difficult to bring in efficient integration among all these subparts of the chain, right? And heavy reliance on cotton. On cotton. Nearly more than 75% on cotton. But global market is more interested on man-made fibers. Global market is opening up for man-made fibers. There is more interest or there is more scope for man-made fibers. So what are man-made fibers? Polythene, right? This medical cloth, the PPE kits you saw, right? And then there are airbags in the car, you see, seat material in the car, right? All those examples like packaging materials, they're all man-made fibers. So global demand for man-made fibers is increasing, but Indian economy or Indian textile industry is over relying on the cotton. So understanding the background of the textile, will go through what are the programs associated with current, announced in the current budget, right? So budget has announced integrated textile program. 2026-2027 budget is announced integrated textile program. It has 5 subparts in it, right? First part is National Fiber Scheme, right? Achieving self-reliance in natural, man-made and new age fibers. We have to go beyond cotton. We should make sure that we will achieve self-reliance on man-made fibers as well, right? That is also called new age fibers, right? So for example, let's say polyester, and there is something called viscose, right? Again, you may come across this kind of question also. What are polyester or viscose? They are man-made fibers. First thing is we have to achieve self-reliancy on man-made fibers. We should become less import dependent and we should diversify our textile industry. Rather than only concentrating in the cotton textile industry, we have to diversify. That's about National Fiber Scheme. Second scheme is Textile Expansion and Employment Scheme. That's about modernizing textile hubs. Modernizing means traditional hubs will be modernized with proper machines, proper technology, right? Modernizing textile hubs. Surat, Tirupur, Ludhiana. It also provides common testing and certification center. Quality certification. See, all this has to be also given export, promotion, right? So if a product has to be exported, it has to clear certain quality standards, right? So the companies, especially small MSMEs, find it very, costlier to afford for testing centers. While modernizing textile hubs, government also provides common testing and certification centers. Third part of the integrated textile program is Handloom and Handicraft Program. National Handloom and Handicraft Program. Here, government provides credit support. Government provides credit support for 4.3 million weavers and artisans through direct benefit transfer. Right? Government is also planning to support the traditional handlooms. And there is something called Tex Eco Initiative. Tex Eco Initiative. Again, this can be your preliminary question. What is a Tex Eco Initiative? What is the meaning of that? It talks about circular and sustainable textiles. Circular and sustainable textiles. What is a circular and sustainable textiles? Tex Eco. Circular textiles. Circular means it's not circle, right? It should be reusable, right? Recycle. Textiles which of the quality, by modifying, by altering or by repairing, it should be reused. Or all the waste textiles should be able to recycle. That's called circular textiles. Right? And it also talks about sustainable textiles. Those textiles which reduces or with minimal carbon emissions. It's about environmentally sustainable, right? That means promoting natural, biodegradable textiles, lesser carbon emission during manufacturing process, and textile also should be as natural and as biodegradable as possible. That's about sustainable and circular textiles. So the budget says it will match, the demand of, you can see here, CBAM complaints. CBAM complaints. What is that? That's about, very important, make sure you know the CBAM complaints. What is CBAM complaints? Carbon border adjustment mechanism, right? It is part of EU, European Union. We just finalized European FTA with European Union, right? In the European Union Free Trade Agreement says, if the product emits more carbon during the manufacturing cycle, it will attract more duty, right? Free Trade Agreement says, if the manufacturing process of a particular product involves more carbon emission, you may also say it leaves more carbon footprint, then it will attract more duty, right? So the government is also making sure that by introducing Tex Eco textiles, we will make it recycled and less carbon emission oriented and biodegradable, right? That will help in reducing CBAM measures imposed by EU, right? We will get away from CBAM measures. Carbon border adjustment mechanism, it is part of India EU FTA, especially it is part of EU policy. It is a EU policy, European Union policy. Understood? CBAM, very, very important. You can easily expect a question in prelims, right? That's about Tex Eco initiative. And there is one more scheme called Samarth 2.0. What is that? It is about skilling, revamping textile skills and training, right? Traditional textile industry workers, they have to be revamped with advanced textile industry technologies. It is more focusing on technical textiles. Fashion technology. Technical means those cloths, for example, mats, fire resistant cloths, packaging textiles, right? Seat covers, all those are technical textiles. And then fashion technology, right? So the Samarth 2.4 talks about upskilling or revamping the skills with respect to technical textiles and fashion technology. Again, it talks about AI driven fashion technology. Upskilling youth with respect to revamping technical textiles, skill with respect to revamping skills with respect to technical textiles, as well as AI driven fashion technology. That's about Samarth 2.4. Understood? Right. Next, it also talks about infrastructure and branding initiatives. As part of infrastructure, the budget proposes mega textile parks. Again, challenge mode. Challenge mode means state will compete with each other to bid for the projects, and whoever wins the bid with attractive proposals of land, resources, budget allocation, etc., that state will win the bid. Mega textile parks. Government proposes to establish mega textile parks with the land availability, power tariff benefits, logistics, etc. Again, it is also a plug and play model. Remember this, plug and play model. Our chemical parks also plug and play model. Mega textile parks also plug and play model. That means what? All the facilities are available. Right? You don't have to acquire land. You don't have to pay for, carbon clean technology, or treatment of effluents, or power. The company, if they have to set up, they should not waste time on, running to the BESCOMs or any other DISCOMs to get the energy available or lay the roads, whatever, securing the area. All that is done already. You just have to come, invest, manufacture, and go out. Right? So that is about plug and play model. Mega textile parks. So again, focusing on agrotechnology, meditechnology, mobile technology. Agrotechnology, the textile with respect to agriculture, right? There are, crop protection cloths to protect the crop from sunlight, crop protection, crop to keep the crops under the shade. And we also have packaging materials, agricultural goods packaging materials, medical technology, whatever, the PPE kits that they wear, masks, etc. Mobile technology. Mobile means not mobile. It's about transportation, technology, or specific technical cloths used in the automobiles or, cars, etc. Right? That's about mobile technology. Again, the budget estimates that technical textiles, they have the potential of 300 billion global market. So India is diversifying its technological industry, coming out of more cotton reliance to technical textile reliance, because technical textile industry provides nearly $300 billion global market. Right? And that's about infrastructure. There is a branding initiative also. Very, very important scheme, very, very important. That is Mahatma Gandhi Gram Swaraj initiative. So our Narega, MG Narega has been renamed, right? G Ramji scheme. Now the Mahatma Gandhi name was removed from there. That created huge ruckus in the parliament and lot of opposition. And now the government has introduced a scheme under Mahatma Gandhi ji. That is this scheme. Mahatma Gandhi Gram Swaraj initiative. Mahatma Gandhi Gram Swaraj initiative. It is with respect to promoting, khadi and products with respect to khadi and village industries. Khadi and village industries product are those products are integrated with one district, one product initiative. Right? Promoting local, village and khadi products, integrating that with one district, one product initiative to provide more visibility in the e-commerce platforms, to turn rural products into global luxury heritage brands. Right? Though the products have been manufactured in rural areas, in the village industries, cottage industries, they are not getting visibility. Right? Through one district, one product scheme, we are integrating khadi and village industries as well, so that we will provide more visibility through e-commerce platforms to help them to grow from rural industry to the global luxury products. That's about Mahatma Gandhi Gram Swaraj initiative. That's about textiles. And one more scheme. There is a new frontier with respect to sports goods manufacturing. Economic survey says sportswear market, currently it is worth of $395 billion. 2025 sportswear market, sportswear, right? Whatever the things you wear for especially sports purpose. And the market is going to expand to $900 billion by 2033. So India cannot lag behind in encashing this opportunity. So that is why government has announced new frontier, because we have to move from low value sports gear to global hub for high-tech equipment. Right? So the government has allocated 500 crores to promote indigenous R&D in sports engineering. We have to innovate our own products, our own innovative cloths for the purpose of sports. Sports, it all depends on what is the weight of the material, how to what extent it can absorb the sweat, etc. Right? So that sportswear technology, government is allotted 500 crores for innovation. Right? That's about sports goods manufacturing. It's a new frontier that has been opened with respect to textile industry. Right? That's about textiles. Right? So that's what this infograph also identifies. 5, frontiers. And yes, for this project, the government has allotted the integrated textile project. Government has allotted 1,500 crores. It is 25% increase in the budget allocation. Government is promoting textile industry like never before. 25% increase in the budget allocation. The total allotment for textile industry is nearly 1,500 crores. And there is one more. Government has made zero duty on textile machineries because to improvise technological advancement with respect to textile industries. Again, those are the things. Next, we'll move on to MSME. Micro, small, medium enterprises. Right? So, government has announced program to convert MSMEs into champion industries. Right? Or champion MSMEs. Champion MSMEs. Champion SMEs actually. Small and medium enterprises, champion SMEs. Before going to the champion SMEs project, let us give a brief overview about Indian MSME. Right, as per economic survey, MSME contributes nearly 31% of GDP. It constitutes nearly 49% of exports. It also employs nearly 33 crore people. That is why MSME has been much important, a much strategical sector. But there is a problem with respect to MSME sector, right? That is called missing middle problem. Missing middle. Missing middle problem means what? If you can see this U graph, U curve. Initially, when it is in micro sector, initially, government will provide subsidies, credit subsidies, government will reduce taxes or make it tax-free, etc. Right? So that will help the industries to perform efficiently, set up easily, perform efficiently. Once it grows to become small or medium industry, once it grows in scale, slowly these government benefits starts to exhaust. Right? And that is this place where the companies, it will become an uphill task for the companies to compete. They have grown from smaller to medium or micro to small. Right? The scale has been increased. Government benefits have decreased or exhausted. So now they have to sustain on their own. Got it? If they have to take loan also, they have to pay the interest every day or monthly or yearly. And they have to compete with the global products, or they have to compete with the big or rich companies. So from year to year, very less MSMEs will survive. Got it? That is called missing middle. This part is missing. That is why we have either micro enterprises who will set up and they will exhaust once the government supports exhausts, or we'll have bigger companies where they have huge capital to invest and they can operate and they can compete with the global products. And these companies will exhaust or they will not be seen. Right? These are the certain problems with respect to MSME. So this budget talks about converting MSMEs into champion SMEs. So what is that? Government provides SME Growth Fund. Worth of 10,000 crore rupees. SME Growth Fund. Right? But what is the specialty of this fund is, it is moving beyond lending based model to equity based model. from lending based model to equity based model. What happens in lending based model? Government provides some interest, subsidy. Okay, banks will lend the money. But the thing is, first thing is it is difficult to get the loan. Second thing is they have to pay interest every month. Got it? Again, it made companies difficult to sustain. Equity based model is what happens? Government owns or it buys certain percentage of ownership. Let's say some 20% of ownership. So government chooses certain potential SMEs. Government chooses certain potential SMEs and it will buy equity of nearly 20% or more, whatever it is allowed or whatever government wishes to. Right? Agreement happens between the company and the government. If the 20% equity is bought by the government, this money flows into the company as a capital. What is the difference between loan and the capital? For capital, you don't have to pay interest every month. The owner will also share the burden of loss if at all company, performs, weakly, right? If the money is taken as a form of loan, if the company suffers loss, still they have to pay the loan because they don't own anything, right? They are not responsible for anything. But equity-based model, government spends the money to own certain part of ownership in the only potential SMEs. Okay, so the SMEs will get working capital, right? It will give them boost and there is less burden of paying the interest. Right, whoever owns the company, whoever puts the money into the company, they don't want, immediate returns, right? They will wait. Right? That is why it is called patient capital. Remember this word, patient capital. Equity capital is patient capital. If you give the loan, you will expect interest to be paid in the next month onwards, right? But capital is not like that, or equity is not like that. You own some part of it and you will wait for the returns. Right, so that money works as a boosting the capital of the company. So a company can avail necessary resources and boost its manufacturing, higher required amount of laborers, etc. It will grow. Once it becomes stabilized, government exits the ownership. Right? It will sell the share and come out of the company. It is beneficial for the government as well. It is beneficial for the company also. Right, and it will also increase the credibility of the company or industry. Got it? If the government owns a part of it, then banks will be happy to lend because government also owning some part of the company, right? So it will give more credibility to the banks. Earlier they used to lend a higher interest rate. Now they will reduce their interest rate. They will lend more money. Understood? That is what the difference is between lending based model to equity based model. So this 10,000 crore is allotted for giving economical boost or a capital boost through equity based model. Got it? Right. And this budget also proposes to establish self-reliant India SRI fund. Self-reliant India fund of 2,000 crore rupees. So in total 10,000 plus 2,000 government is allocating 12,000 crore rupees for MSME sector. So what is this 2,000 crore rupees for? It is for providing credit guarantee. Credit guarantee. Right? What is credit guarantee? If the MSME takes loan, some part of the credit is guaranteed by the government. If it takes 10 lakh rupees loan, government will tell you, okay, I will give credit guarantee for 3 to 4 lakh rupees. Right? Or it can also give entire credit guarantee. Credit guarantee means if the companies do not have to submit any collateral. Right? They don't have to surrender any collateral for taking the loan. That is the meaning of credit guarantee. There is a separate trust for credit guarantee. That is Credit Guarantee Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. Right? CGTMSC. There is a separate trust has been established for providing credit guarantee. Through this trust, government is providing 2,000 crore rupees to support MSME. Right? That is one more thing. Second part of the MSME push is government has mandated TReDS, right, for central public sector enterprises. What is TReDS? Trade receivables, discounting system. So I will briefly explain what is TReDS. For example, this is TReDS, right? This is TReDS. That is MSME. And there are financial institutions or financial investors. And there are organizations. Largest customer for MSME is government or central public sector enterprises. Right? What happens in TReDS? If MSME sells some goods worth of, let's say, 10 lakh rupees, right, this organization will upload the invoice in the TReDS platform. Right? Maybe this organization cannot return or cannot pay the money upfront. It may need some time because of its business cycles. Right? It may not pay the money upfront. It will upload invoice. Right? Earlier, what used to happen? MSMEs had to wait for this company to clear the dues, and that used to reduce the working capital for the MSME. They need money to pay the rent, to pay the electricity bill, to pay the salaries. Right? They cannot tell that, okay, we'll pay after when I get the money from the so and so company. So now through TReDS platform, what happens is, these organizations who procure the goods from MSME, they will upload the invoice in the TReDS platform. And these financial investors, they will bid for this. Let's say 10 lakh worth of invoices is uploaded. These investors will bid with discount value. They will say, I will pay 9 lakh. Someone will come, I will pay 9.5 lakh. Okay, whoever highest bidder, they will win the bid. They will own this invoice. Okay, they will pay the money to the MSME owner. MSME will not get entire 10 lakh rupees, but they will get some discounted price. That is beneficial for MSME because they don't have to wait forever to get this dues clear. Now it becomes responsibility of these financial investors to get the dues clear from the respected organization. And he will earn the profit also, right? Because he has not given entire 10 lakh rupees, but he has given discounted money. Right? So this TReDS platform was established to help MSME as well as to financial investors as well as to help organizations. Earlier, it was made mandatory for CPSCs, but CPSCs, Central Public Sector Enterprises, they used to just register, but they never used to transact through this platform. Transaction used to happen outside the platform. Again, that used to cause MSME problems to MSMEs because they have to wait for their working capital. Under this budget, what they have made compulsory is, now onwards, CPSCs have to transact money through this TReDS platform only. Right? They have to register in the TReDS platform. They have to transact whatever the invoices of money transactions happens between MSME and organizations has to happen through TReDS. So that is the new rule under this budget. Are you getting it? Mandatory TReDS and CPSC linkage. And third part of this MSME support is, government is proposing corporate mitras. Corporate mitras, government is about to train, right? Train youth in respected accountancy skills, right? Because MSME used to face compliance cost. Compliance cost means they have to file invoice, they have to get the invoice encashed, they have to file returns, they have to pay GST, they have to pay to the accountant or to the CA. Again, that's additional cost. Now, the government is coming up with semi-accountants. They're not entirely accountants. They have not done entire commerce course or entire, accountancy course, but they are skilled with required abilities. They are skilled with required abilities to help MSMEs. They are called corporate mitras, especially in tier 2, tier 3 cities in the village areas also. It is very difficult to find accountants in the village areas, right? You can relate with these people with ASHA workers. ASHA workers are not really doctors, but they have required skills to take care of child health as well as pregnant women or lactating mothers' health, right? Similarly, these corporate mitras help MSMEs, right? In helping in filing their returns or filing the GST, etc., to reduce their compliance cost. Got it? That is the purpose of this corporate mitras. So you can see all this. So equity support, risk capital push, 10,000 crore as SME growth fund as well as SRI fund, 2,000 crore, and TReDS revolution, mandatory TReDS for all CPSC. It also provides credit guarantee and TReDS integration. It also provides for credit guarantee trust and TReDS integration. What is the job of credit guarantee trust? To provide guarantee to the credit. What is happening in the TReDS platform? Some financial investor will bid for the invoice, right? Ultimately, it will become his responsibility to encash the invoice from the respected organization who has procured the goods from SME. But he will be at risk, right? Now, who knows if this organization gives the money to him or not? It is risky. Now the risk has been shifted from SME to the financial investor. Then who will come forward to take the risk? This credit guarantee trust will tell you, it will tell the financial investor, okay, don't worry, I will provide certain guarantee to your money. May not be entire guarantee, but portion of the money I will guarantee from my side. If the organization completely fails to clear the dues, credit guarantee trust will tell you that, okay, some part of it I will compensate. So that is the integration of credit guarantee trust for MSE and TReDS platform. It also talks about mandatory government e-marketplace, GEM and TReDS. Dear students, there is a difference between GEM and TReDS. GEM is also meant for promoting MSME. TReDS is also made for promoting MSME. But what is the difference? Government e-marketplace, it's kind of an e-commerce website. Okay. Where all these MSME products are listed, it will help the government to impartially choose quality ones and affordable ones. Impartially. It's open ground. It will not allow you to lobby indirectly or back channels through back channels with the MSMEs. No. It's an open platform, right, where government CPSCs can procure goods from MSEs through GEM marketplace, government e-marketplace. Their goods are procured and in TReDS, amount is settled. Goods procurement, amount settlement must be integrated. Right? That is the thing that has been brought with respect to this budget. Okay. And next is corporate mitras. They are trained by ICAI, ICSI, ICMEI. These are accountancy courses, which I am not at all aware of. Okay, if you are a commerce background student, you may understand this. Okay, especially in tier 2, tier 3 cities and village areas. Okay. Right. That is for affordable help with respect to filing the taxes. Right. So that's about this infographics from old model to new model. Right? Old model is about debit or lending. Now new model is equity or growth capital model. Right. So earlier government role was just as a lender. We will lend it. But now government role is improved from lender to ecosystem builder. It will not just give the money to you as a loan. It will wait for you to pay the interest. And I'm not responsible for the business. You take care of your business. No. Government has to support it throughout its cycles. It will create a harmonious ecosystem from capital to marketplace to branding to selling, everything. Right? Government acts as ecosystem builder rather than just a lender. Okay, that's a shift in the role of government. Right. That's about. So you should also know that this credit or this equity availability is only for, it is through merit based incentive, means those companies which have potential. Of course, right? If you want to own shares of some company, you don't own shares of some weaker company or company which is making loss, right? Of course, government picks and chooses those companies which have potential. That is why it says merit based incentive. It doesn't pick a weaker company, but it picks a stronger company which has potential to grow, which has a better idea, which has a better track record. Such companies. Got it? And there are other initiatives of the budget also. The budget proposes to revive 200 legacy industrial clusters. Which are they? It is not given in detail. Legacy industries, it can be toy industry, it can be textile, it can be leather industries, right? 200 legacy industrial clusters to improve their cost of competitiveness and efficiency through infrastructure and technology upgradation. Along with all this, manufacturing industry initiatives, government also proposes to improvise or build industrial clusters for 200 legacy industries. That's about manufacture and industry, right? In the same pillar 1 of growth, we will move on to infrastructure aspect, which is very important, right? Infrastructure from raw material to the production to the market, very much necessary, right? So in that, we talk about rail, high-speed rail as growth connectors. We talk about dedicated freight corridor. We talk about waterways. And we also talk about urban development, that is city economic regions. What is that? We also talk about infrastructure financing aspect of it. Before going to the infrastructure, there are few aspects which you must know. See, India has one of the highest logistical expenditure, 14% of GDP. India has highest logistical expenditure in the world, that is 14% of GDP. Logistics means whatever transportation, storage, all this cost. Now India is aiming to achieve 10% of GDP. Reduce it to 10% of GDP. Lesser the logistical cost, more the competitiveness of Indian products, right? Got it. So, and basically, goods transport in 3 modes. Multimodal transport, we call it. Three modes, that is through waterway, rail, and then road. If you talk about efficiency of these three modes, for waterway, it costs 0.5 rupees. 0.5 rupees per ton kilometer. If you want to transport 1 kilometer for 1 ton of good for 1 kilometer, it will cost on an average 0.5 rupees. And for rail, it is around 1.2 rupees. But for roads, it is 2.2 rupees. But unfortunately, majority of your transportation is concentrated with the road, followed by railways and water. Got it? So if you want to increase the logistical efficiency, we have to increase these modes of transport, right? Rail and water. And this also provides one more opportunity for eco-friendly transition. Eco-friendly transition. Because more fuel efficiency, lesser carbon emissions, right? Right. So you should keep in your mind while you discuss about transportation or infrastructure connectivity related aspects of this budget. So firstly, government in this budget proposes 7 high-speed rail corridors as growth connectors, and for which it is allotting 16 lakh crore rupees, right? Total span of 4,000 kilometers will be covered, and high-speed rail of worth 250 to 350 kilometers per hour will be achieved. So which are those? Mumbai to Pune, Delhi Varanasi, Hyderabad Bangalore, Chennai Bangalore, Pune Hyderabad, Hyderabad Chennai, Varanasi Siliguri. Right? Here it is. Delhi to Varanasi, Varanasi to Siliguri, Mumbai to Pune, Mumbai to Hyderabad, Mumbai to Bangalore, Hyderabad to Bangalore, Hyderabad to Chennai, Bangalore to Chennai. There are 7. Right? So Mumbai to Pune, Western Highway, busiest Western Highway, Delhi to Varanasi, it is about linking capital to the spiritual heartland. Hyderabad to Bangalore, two silicon hubs. One is Silicon Valley, other is Cyberabad. Chennai to Bangalore, it is manufacturing belt. Pune to Hyderabad, again business hubs. Hyderabad to Chennai, again technology, connecting technology with the ports. That is Eastern Chennai port with respect to Hyderabad business center, as well as very important thing is Varanasi to Siliguri, right? In recent times, government is giving more boost to the neglected part of India, that is northeastern states, right? We are strengthening industries as part of evergreen revolution. Agriculture as part of evergreen revolution. We are strengthening border infrastructure. We are also providing high speed rail connectivity to northeastern region. That is very important. Delhi to Varanasi to Siliguri, high speed rail is coming up, right? So what is specialty of this? It is going to reduce the time. For example, if you talk about Delhi to Varanasi, earlier it used to take 11 hours, now it will come down to 3 hours 50 minutes. Right, it will 70% of the time travel will be cut down with high speed rail. So what are the specialties? The high speed rail technology will be driven 100% indigenized technology. 100% indigenous technology. Our Vande Bharat platform is there. Through our Vande Bharat platform, again it is indigenous technology. We are going to come up with high speed rails to achieve 250 to 300 km per hour speed. And it also talks about South High Speed Triangle, that is Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai. South High Speed Triangle, right? Because these three areas are very active with respect to technology, business and manufacturing, right? So that is why it is providing high speed connectivity, high speed rail connectivity to these three prominent South Indian cities, right? And along with high speed rail connectivity, Kavach safety system. Again, Kavach safety system, it is indigenously built anti-collision rail safety system. Government is allotting 1.2 lakh crore rupees. 1.2 lakh crore rupees for this Kavach anti-collision indigenous rail safety system. Right, that's about your 7 high-speed growth connectors. Next, coming to dedicated freight corridor. There is a proposal of dedicated freight corridor between Dankuni to Surat. You can see in the map here, from Surat to Dankuni. Dankuni is in West Bengal, Surat is in Gujarat. From Dankuni to West Bengal, government proposes dedicated freight corridor. What is so special about it? So it connects dedicated Western dedicated freight corridor and Eastern dedicated freight corridor. The Western is from Dadri, right? Dadri to Surat, and it will end up in JNPT. I'm not drawing the map here, you can just imagine. And from the Eastern, it's from Ludhiana, from Dadri, and then Kanpur, Allahabad, which is again Prayagraj now, and from Dankuni. So new dedicated freight corridor connects Surat to Dankuni. Of course, not a straight line. Again, which other state is going to benefit? West Bengal, Jharkhand, Bihar, UP, MP, and then Gujarat. So these are the states is going to benefit dedicated freight corridor. What is it connecting? It is connecting resource rich eastern part of the country. Resource rich means coal, steel, iron ore, right? Resource rich eastern part of the country to the industries in the western part of the country. What kind of industries? Textile, diamond, chemical industries, right? It is giving connectivity to the resource rich eastern part of the country to western part of the country. And this rail is going to be double stack. This rail is going to be double stack. One train replaces 120 trucks. One train replaces 120 trucks. That means you can imagine how efficient it will be and how much carbon emission it is going to reduce compared to road transport, right? And also the train is 4x faster. Earlier train were average speed of freight trains was 25 km per hour. Now this train is aiming to achieve nearly 75 to 100 km per hour. Efficient. Since it is dedicated freight corridor, it can seamlessly transport the goods from east to west or west to east, and it is 4x faster also. It is more efficient than the road transport also. Now this dedicated freight corridor is aiming to achieve logistical goal of reducing logistical cost from 14% of GDP to 9% of GDP. Right. So this is about dedicated freight corridor. And now initiatives with regard to waterways. There are certain initiatives with regard to waterways. When you talk about waterways, right, approximately only 6% of total transport mode constitutes waterways. In the modal mix of transport, modal mix means road, rail, water, even air, only 6% constitutes waterways. India is blessed with nearly 7,500 kilometers of the coastal area or coastal waters and nearly 14,000 kilometers of waterways. But we are not able to do sufficiently to encash this potential. Compared to other countries like Bangladesh, Bangladesh has 16% of modal share of water transport. Thailand has 12% of modal share of water transport, but India is not encashing its water transport efficiency or potential. Right. So this budget brings in, proposes 20 new, operationalization of 20 new waterways. Operationalization of 20 new waterways. Right. In the 5-year period. In the 5-year period, 20 new waterways are going to be operationalized. And it also proposes to operationalize or commence the building or construction of National Waterway 5. National Waterway 5. National Waterway 5 you can see here. So, National Waterway 5 you can see here from Talchar of Odisha. Right? From Talchar of Odisha to Paradeep of West Bengal. Can you see this? That is about National Waterway 5. You must know all the national water, at least top 5 national waterways, which states they pass through and which are the rivers they are connecting. If you talk about National Waterway 5, it's a 623 km long, primarily spans Odisha and small part of West Bengal. It comprises river segments of Brahmani, Mahanadi and Matai. Brahmani, Mahanadi and Matai. Brahmani, Mahanadi and Matai river. So it is going to connect all these 3 rivers. Right. So the budget proposes to commence the construction of National Waterway 5. So total government is through this budget planning to increase the number of waterways, operationalized waterways from 32 to 52. That's the estimation. You can call it as blue logistics. Blue logistics. Logistics with respect to waterways. That is called blue logistics. You all know how efficient it is compared to the both railways as well as roadways. Right. It will lead to low cost, eco-friendly shipping. And it also provides 35% of subsidy or financial incentive if any cargo of longer freight overhaul. That means if the freight has to transport for more than 500 kilometers, if the freight or good has to be transported for more than 500 kilometers, if they switch their modes from rail or road to waterways, if they switch their mode of transport from rail or road to the waterways, and if the freight overhaul is more than 500 kilometers, government is going to pay back their 35% of logistical expenditure. That will give them financial incentives for the goods to switch from road and railways to the waterways. Right. And the budget also proposes to create 25,000 crore of Maritime Development Fund. Maritime Development Fund, right? To develop shipping infrastructure. Maritime Development Fund of 25,000 crore worth to develop shipping infrastructure. Saying that's about boosting what? Waterways, right? So you can see traditional road and rail and waterways comparatively, there will be less congestion, there will be less carbon footprint, there will be less logistical cost. Got it? So these are the important themes about waterways. Now, coming to the infrastructure, one more aspect is government proposes to create city economic regions. City economic regions. So we have seen smart city program. I think in 2015, for 5 years time, government had announced smart city program to develop 100 smart cities. Now this budget proposes city economic regions. See, smart cities were focused on technology to make our cities more efficient, more secure, and more livable. Right? Now, this focus is towards economic ability. You all know cities are termed as growth engines, right? Cities are termed as growth engines. In the budget also, Finance Minister called them as growth engines. By economic survey says by 2036, 40% of our population is going to reside in urban centers. And it goes on to say that by 2036, 70% of our GDP is going to come from urban areas. That is why it is very important to make our urban centers more efficient and more productive. Right. So this budget brings in City Economic Regions Initiative, where city economic regions are not demarcated based on municipal boundaries. If you talk about Smart City Initiative, Damnagere Smart City, Hubballi Dharwad Smart City, Bangalore Smart City, right? That was municipal boundaries. But this City Economic Region Initiative will, demark the regions not based on municipal regions, but based on their economic potential. Based on their economic potential, there can be few regions of different cities. There can be 2-3 regions of different cities. They can be, combined together. Agglomerations, which are economic agglomerations, right? So, a CER maps a city along with its surrounding satellite towns and industrial clusters based on their shared economic drivers. There can be 2-3 satellite towns of different cities. They can be kept together based on their economic activity. It is not like city-based demarcation. It is economic activity-based demarcation. So, government has dedicated 5,000 crore per city economic regions over 5 years. Government is proposing to, create 7 city economic regions. For every city economic region, it is going to give 5,000 rupees for over 5 years. That means it is going to allocate 35,000 crore rupees for City Economic Regions Initiative. Right. So that's what it says. From Smart Cities Mission, we are going to move towards City Economic Regions Initiative. This focused on more on amenities. This focused more on economic activity. Right. And primary goal was economic output, job creation, and to promote growth either through industry or through tourism or through agriculture. So, from Smart Cities Vision 2, we are moving towards Economic Regions Vision. So, which are those 7 pilot economic regions? First one, we talk about Bangalore. Bangalore City Economic Region focused on technological output. Right? Bangalore is recognized as Silicon City of India. Right? So, given the potential of its IT sector, Bangalore is recognized as one of the economical region. Second is Pune, automotive manufacturing leader. Third is Surat, diamond and textile center. Fourth is Varanasi, spiritual tourism, updating infrastructure for world's oldest living city and its artisan community, right? And next is Visakhapatnam. Visakhapatnam, again, blue economy we talk about, port-led economy or port-led economic growth, epicenter Visakhapatnam. Next, we'll talk about tri-centers, tri-cities, Bhubaneswar, Puri, Cuttack, tri-cities. Again, it is for tourism and education. And again, there is a tri-city, Coimbatore, Erode, Tirupur of Tamil Nadu. Again, it is for textile and engineering goods. My dear friends, this can be asked in your prelims examination. Which are the city economic regions proposed in the budget and what are they specialized with? What is the specific reason for them to be announced as city economic region? What is the economic potential of those regions? So you must know these things, right? Moving forward, after city economic regions, we talk about, see, these city economic regions along with 7 high-speed rails is going to give more boost for the productivity or efficiency with respect to our urban centers. Okay. Moving forward, government also proposes Infrastructure Risk Guarantee Fund. Infrastructure Risk Guarantee Fund. How much is the fund? It is not clearly mentioned. So what is Infrastructure Risk Guarantee Fund? You all know, to develop or to realize the dream of Vikasit Bharat, India has to bring in a lot of investment to create infrastructure. Be it urban infrastructure, be it transportation, be it port, right, be it affordable housing, etc. But for the infrastructure, the companies or the organizations need long-term financing for a cheaper interest rate. Again, that credit availability is becoming very difficult. So government proposing, right, to provide partial credit guarantee. If an industrial company or a construction company is taking loan from the bank, right, government will not give them subsidies, direct subsidies, but government provides credit guarantee for the loan taken by an organization or construction company up to 20 to 30%. So that brings in more confidence in the banks or NBFCs to provide loan to the construction companies responsible in the infrastructure building. Got it? So that is de-risking. That is making the asset for the bank lesser risky. Got it? If that is there, then what happens? The banks will readily come forward to lend because they know the fund is protected by sovereign guarantee. Sovereign guarantee means guarantee given by the government. So banks will readily accept lower cost of capital, right? Banks will reduce the interest rate because lesser risky loan because it is backed by the government itself. And it also improves the credit rating of the institutions. Less risky, better the credit rating, right? From BBB, it may go up to A or AA, right? It will improve the credit rating of those agencies or companies which are availing the loan, and that results in lesser cost of capital and lesser risk of lending. So banks also will be happy. Construction companies building infrastructure, they are also happy. Government is also happy because government is mobilizing private investment, right? It's a win-win situation, right? It will lead to crowding in of money. Crowding in of money means more private money will come into the investment. Crowding in of money, right? It will also help reviving stalled assets. Stalled assets means, right, those assets which have been impartially completed or incompleted. So they will be reinitiated, right? So earlier what used to happen? You can see here a U-shaped risk profile. Earlier, we used to recognize the construction projects with a U-shaped risk profile. What is that? Earlier, it is very difficult for them to acquire land, capital, technology, other concessions from the government. Government has to handhold them. That is very difficult part. While they're operationalizing, it's fine. They're collecting the money, they're running the business, fine. After a few years, they have to maintain it. Again, it's a difficult task. right? This U-shaped risk profile is because of lesser capital availability of long-term perspective and of lesser interest rate. But this infrastructure risk guarantee fund will ensure that construction companies, they'll get the long-term loan from the banks for a lesser cost of capital so that they can speed up their construction, so that they can revive the stalled projects and our infrastructure investment will be, improved. That is crowding in effect. That's about infra risk guarantee fund. We have few others also. Government says we will continue to focus on developing infrastructure in cities with over 5 lakh population which have expanded to become growth centers. Government is going to identify tier 2, tier 3 cities with more than 5 lakh population and improve their infrastructure so that if they have potential to become growth centers. Because we have to decongest the metropolitan cities, right? So we have to decongest and create more opportunities in tier 2, tier 3 cities. And third thing, it says government proposes to accelerate recycling of significant real estate assets of central public sector enterprises through setting up of REIT, Real Estate Investment Trusts. What is REIT? How is it going to work? Very important question again for prelims, even for mains also. That is how innovatively government bringing in more private investment. So what is REIT? What government is saying? Recycling significant real estate assets. If a central public sector enterprise has some unused land, unused parcel of land, unused building or unused area, that is real estate, government is going to pull it up and create a trust. So this trust will manage the property. They will build it, they will collect the rent, etc. But they have to invest back into the property, right? Where will they get the money? This trust will raise the money through real estate investment. This trust itself is called Real Estate Investment Trust. This trust itself is called Real Estate Investment Trust. This will be listed in the stock exchange through SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India. This REIT will be listed in stock exchange. Through stock exchange, the money will be raised by the trust. That money will be used to monetize this piece of real estate. Whatever the profit comes from the real estate will be shared among the shareholders who have bought the equity through stock exchange. That is how Real Estate Investment Trust will work. So government proposes to create more dedicated REITs by pooling real estate assets of CPSCs. That's about infra initiatives. We'll move on to last aspect of the pillar 1, that is growth, that is sustainability. So when you hear the word sustainability, it talks about long-term stability. It also talks about eco-friendly growth. So here we discuss CCUS and customs duty exemption for nuclear equipments. Also we talk about biodiversity and ecology. Government is proposing turtle trials and bird watching trials. What is CCUS? CCUS stands for carbon capture, utilization and storage. Right? If an industry is emitting a lot of carbon, capture the carbon part of the emissions, utilize it to manufacture certain devices like green urea, synthetic fuels like methanol, also construction materials. So carbon has to be captured, should be utilized if it is possible, and storage. The carbon which cannot be utilized can be stored. Where? Forbidden oil reserves or forbidden oil wells, right? And also saline aquifers where the aquifer water is not portable or not useful for consumption purpose. Depleted gas reserves, right? Carbon can be stored. So that is about CCUS. Government proposes 20,000 crore fund in next 5 years to develop infrastructure for CCUS, because it is very expensive for any industry, right? If they have to manufacture goods, there can be carbon emissions, but they have to make sure that they will not emit the carbon to the atmosphere, right? That the reason, right? Climate change, etc. So government proposes to establish CCUS infrastructure, and for that it proposes to invest 20,000 crore rupees. Again, it's also called industrial decarbonization. It's also called industrial decarbonization, right? It will be shared infrastructure where it can be used by multiple industries, especially, right? And second thing is, when you talk about carbon emission, you may talk about fuel. You may ask, sir, if they can use renewables, they can reduce carbon emission. Carbon emission is not only focused on energy consumption, or it's like if they use fossil fuels, then they'll emit more carbon. It's not about fuel related carbon emission. We talk about process related carbon emission. That means during the process itself, chemical processes, there can be CO2 emissions. Chemical processes, right? It is not only fuel consumption. In the manufacturing cycle, there can be some chemical processes involved that may lead to carbon dioxide emission, right? CCUS focuses on that as well, right? Idea is decarbonizing the industry. Which industries? Especially power, steel, cement, refineries and chemicals. They are very crucial industries. They provide capital goods for other industries as well. They also have a lot of export potential, right? Again, this decarbonization also helps us to adhere with CBAM. Remember CBAM, right? Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. That is part of our EU deal, right? That means what? Higher carbon emission if the imports, that means imports to EU, right? If EU is importing goods which has higher carbon emissions, that will attract more taxes. Got it? So to reduce the import duty on Indian exports, to reduce the import duty on the EU side for Indian exports, right? We have to make sure our products will not emit more of carbon dioxide, either in the fuel consumption part or in the manufacturing or processing part. Got it? So that is called CBAM measure. So government is focused on decarbonizing the industries, right? That's about CCUS. And next, we also saw something, right? Customs duty exemptions extended to 2035. What is that? Right. India has put on a goal of achieving 100 gigawatt of nuclear capacity, 100 gigawatt of nuclear capacity by 2047. Right. To boost that goal, the government has extended the exemption on import duties for nuclear power projects until September 30, 2035. For nuclear power projects, we have to import a lot of goods, raw materials, right? So the custom duties for those imports have been made zero or custom free. Exemption of customs duties. That is the target of achieving 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy capability by 2047. Also, through the budget, government is also proposing 20,000 crore mission for small modular reactors. Right? What are small modular reactors? Right? So, in normal reactors, what is to happen? Traditional reactors, pressurized heavy water reactors, we call them. Pressurized heavy water reactors. In India, more than 80% of the reactors are pressurized heavy water reactors. Right? Their cost of installation itself is very high. It requires huge capital, worth of thousands of crores. Right? Cost of establishment is high. Cost of operation is high. Risk is also very high. These small modular reactors, those reactors, they are very small. It can be easily scalable. The models can be scalable. And they generate less than 300 megawatt of electricity. Pressurized heavy water reactors generate more than 1 gigawatt of electricity, or nearly 1 gigawatt. Right? But these small modular reactors, they generate less than 300 megawatt of electricity, and they are comparatively easier to set up, comparatively require less capital. So government is proposing 20,000 crore fund to promote establishment of small modular reactors. That can be very important question for your prelims examination. You can expect it. SMR reactors, right? So Bhabha Atomic Research Center is already developing Bharat Small Modular Reactor, BSMR. Bharat Small Modular Reactor of capability 200 megawatt. Right? So currently it's happening. So we are aiming to develop our own indigenous. That means reactor which is built completely through indigenous products, indigenous raw materials by 2033 or 2032. 32 to 33. That is what India is on, right? Nuclear energy generation. That is because clean energy. We have to reduce our carbon footprint, right? We also have to make sure that nuclear energy will act as a base load energy. Currently, the base load energy is coal. Base load energy is something which help us to provide required thrust for the heavy industries, required thrust and continuous supply. Solar and wind energy, they cannot ensure continuous supply, right? It is seasonal. But nuclear energy, they can provide continuous supply and also provide required thrust. That is why government is doing two things. One is reducing custom duty for nuclear equipments. Second thing is proposing 20,000 crore fund to set up SMRs, right? That's about clean energy push. Again, that is related to growth and sustainability. And lastly, we talk about biodiversity or ecosystem sustainability, right? Budget proposes turtle trials as well as polycat bird trials. See, ecosystem was seen as a burden because, see, economy was totally based on production, and sustainable economics is more of carrying the burden of maintaining health of ecosystem, environmental health, etc. It was seen as a burden. But government is now moving towards transforming that into, again, economic oriented objective. Through an economic oriented objective, it talks about nature-based tourism. It talks about nature-based tourism. So, ecosystem preservation or protection can also be, part of balanced economical growth or sustainable economic growth. It also can be part of economic productivity, right? It cannot be any more economic burden. So, in this direction, government proposes in this budget two things. One is turtle trials and other is polycat bird trials. Turtle trials in the state of Odisha, Karnataka as well as Kerala. That is east coast as well as west coast. These coasts have been demarcated to develop turtle trials, right? Turtle trial for what? For, you might have already heard about olive redley turtle, right? Olive redley turtles, right? Olive redley turtles vastly occur in the Odisha coast. That is near, I'll show you. That is near Gahirmata and Rushikulya river mouths. Right? This is Gahirmata and Rushikulya river. Actually, Gahirmata provides one of the world's largest nesting sites for olive ridley turtles. Gahirmata provides world's largest. Actually, it's a marine sanctuary. Gahirmata is a marine sanctuary. It provides nesting site for world's largest number of olive ridley turtles. There can be few points with respect to Gahirmata. One point is world's largest nesting ground for olive ridley turtles. Second thing is, it talks about olive ridley. There can be a question about olive ridley turtles. Olive ridley turtles are protected under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Very important. Second thing is, there is also something called Operation Olivia. Operation Olivia, again, not part of this budget, but in related to olive ridley turtles, in related to Gahirmata Maritime Sanctuary, I am bringing up these points. Right. So Operation Olivia is also again protecting nesting sites of olive ridley turtles. So not only olive ridley turtles, there are also called leatherback turtles. Leatherback turtles and olive ridley turtles, they create nesting sites in the east coast, that is coast of Odisha, especially in the Gahirmata and Rushikulya river region. Understood? So this budget aims to bring in or conserve these sites as turtle trials. It is aiming to train 10,000 turtle guardians. Can you see? Ecosystem conservation can also become a employment creation opportunity, right? So it is going to train localites as a turtle guardians. Youth will be trained as professional guides and conservation specialists. Right. It also brings in satellite telemetry integration. That means satellite-based observation. Right. That's about olive ridley turtles. Second thing is Pulicat bird trials. Pulicat Lake, India's second largest lagoon, 600 square kilometer brackish water, spanning AP and Tamil Nadu. It falls in the border of AP and Tamil Nadu. 600 square kilometer, right, area, second largest lagoon. Right. It proposes Pulicat bird trials. What are the types of birds we see? Flamingo, pelican, stork. Right. You should remember these bird names. If possible, go through their IUCN status. Right. Because UPSC prelims, it will dig deeper. So it is a migratory hotspot. Winter migration. Migratory hotspot for flamingos, pelicans, painted storks from November to February. It's a winter migration hotspot. That is why this budget proposes to create sustainable infrastructure to boost tourism as well as conserve ecosystem, also create employment for the local population. It also talks about national digital integration. The lake will provide trekkers with digital maps via National Digital Knowledge Grid. What is this? You should know. Google it. Try to understand. What is it? Simple. National Digital Knowledge Grid. What is that? What is the use? If you want me to explain, comment below. It integrates the trek trials or the lake tourism trials with National Digital Knowledge Grid, right? With digital maps to improve tourism. Okay. So these are the aspects given in the budget with respect to the pillar 1, that is growth, right? Rest 2 pillars I am going to cover very soon in the subsequent videos. Also, at the end of this video, I have posted few questions, preliminary questions, right? Try to answer them. If you don't know, again rewatch the video. I hope this video is more qualitative and useful for your examination. If you like the video, kindly comment, like as well as subscribe and share it with your friends. If you have any suggestions for me, kindly comment below. Also, subscribe to my Telegram channel to get access to this PDF. I am also giving you detailed budget document with proper explanations. Got it in the Telegram channel. Kindly subscribe to the Telegram channel and download the free copy of budget analyzed well by me. Thank you for your patience. All the best for examination preparation, and look forward for the upcoming videos in my Joyful God YouTube channel. All the best.